Hey everybody, welcome back to our neck of the woods. It's an absolute freezing spring day. We actually had 4 inches of snow on the ground yesterday, but there's not much to do because it's so cold, but we got some stuff delivered, so I want to go ahead and show you what we got going on. All right, well, hopefully you guys will be able to hear me. Once again, these microphones aren't working. This is the 3rd one I've had now. Not all in this wireless type, but we're back to just using the microphones on the GoPro. This technology in this day and age is just horrible, but besides that, I think you guys can hear me okay on the GoPro, but we got it done. We've got all of the drywall up and we've got the roofing on, or the ceiling. The screws came today that I was able to get the last 5 panels on myself actually, and the last yesterday and the day before I finished out the drywall. Not an easy task by yourself, and I said that was gonna be a problem. These 2 panels right here, for example, the mid panels, that one and down there, they're 12 footers, and I had to get them up 4 feet onto that ledge and sit them up there and hold them while I screw them in, and they were the full 12 feet, so 105 pounds kind of throwing it up that high and getting it from your waist up it wasn't easy. We also got down here done with all of the cutouts around the stair stringers. That was fun to do. And overall, I think it looks okay. It went good. I think enough tape and mud will cover up any imperfections for me not being a professional drywaller. But so far, so good. Like I said, I think it looks good and I'm pleased. So the first thing we got in the mail or delivered is our Rockwool insulation. So this is not rock wool. This is mineral wool from Menards that's actually manufactured by John's Manville. So that's just what Menards carried. This is not all of the insulation either. I've broken down several of these bundles and put them upstairs into the attic. I put several into the house because there's just no room. Now again, I'm not sure why Menards made me order 80 bundles of this stuff. When I ordered it, I originally only wanted 64, but they made me order 80, and 2 of these bundles came on 1 pallet, so they made me order 10 pallets total when 9 pallets would have made more sense. Obviously 72 is a lot closer to 64 than 80 is, but maybe it was something for a delivery that's how they ordered it. But I did the calculations again. We're probably gonna be able to burn it all up within the ceiling of the garage, in the ceiling of the house. Obviously the 64 was gonna be for the garage when I originally was gonna put it inside of the walls, but due to the vapor barrier, vapor retarder issue, I decided that the spray foam was gonna be better with the inside of the walls. So it won't go to waste. I don't think we'll return it all, but it's here. We can start using it. The only problem is because it's 40 degrees out, I can't go up into the attic and seal all of the edges and put my trim up and seal behind the trim on that side and on that side of the garage because it's too cold out. And I think I'm gonna go one step further, and where all of the panels come together, I think I'm gonna put some beads of spray foam down in there too, so that way air can't escape up through the metal, get underneath of that, and have condensation issues and trying to get up into the attic. So I think I'm just gonna seal all of my joints, all of my seams, and I think that'll be a much better job in the future. Now, the reason why I wish I could be doing it today is because it's so cold out. Eventually, I'm gonna have to go up into the attic, wear a paper suit and a mask, and attics are obviously extremely hot, especially in the summer right now with a black paper type roof on right now. And the ridge cap is not cut open to allow heat to escape, so it gets very hot up there. And it would be a perfect time to be installing it now, but unfortunately it is what it is. We just gotta wait for a warm day so that we can seal everything up, and maybe I'll do it at nighttime. Obviously I've got a good attic light up there, so I can spray foam anytime up there as long as it's above like 40 or 50 degrees, but actually laying that stuff down, maybe I will do it at nighttime when it's nice and cool. Now, the other thing that showed up is this big pallet over here, and I already took some boxes off of it, but there's like, I don't even know, they came in like 100 boxes, all of these, and we finally got our Genstone. So What is Genstone? Well, that's the product that Aaron and I decided on that is going to go on the whole front of the garage and house, but we've only purchased the garage stuff. So it'll go on the garage from the ground all the way up to the bottom of the windows, and it comes with like a brick ledge kinda with a taper for water flowing away. That'll go all the way around the front, the side, and the back of the garage. And what is Genstone? So basically, because we have an ICF house, I wanted something lightweight and easy to install. And yeah, there's some concrete fake veneers out there, but what I liked about Genstone is the fact that this stuff is basically, it's foam. It's just like an ICF, but like 10 times harder. So if you can see in there, it's just a panel of foam. It weighs absolutely nothing. It is obviously waterproof because they put on this like kind of PVC, almost spray-on plasticky coating. The front, I'm sure, has it too before they put the actual color on it. Now this is very dirty. This is just a sample piece that's been sitting around for like a month, so I've actually been standing on it, so it's not this color. Don't worry about that. But it's just basically kind of bulletproof. Water's not gonna hurt it, mold's not gonna hurt it, insects aren't gonna hurt it. It weighs absolutely nothing, so you can screw it right to the ICF and you don't have to worry about the nails pulling away or something getting a hold of it and tearing it off. Installation is super nice. You can hit this thing, you can drive over this with a truck. You can't do that with concrete products. You drop one of those panels or hit it with a hammer, it's going to break. You can drop this thing from 20 feet in the air, and it's not gonna do anything. You can drive over it, you can step on it, you can try and break it, but because it's not a concrete or a stone, there's nothing really to snap. It's just literally foam and plastic. Now, obviously, you can, break it over your knee or cut it with a handsaw, and any saw actually. It cuts easier than wood, but it is firmer than like the ICF blocks. But my little Japanese saws will cut through this no problem. So installation and everything should be an absolute breeze. Now, this is the color that we went with. It's called Iron Ore, so basically it's black. So if you guys aren't catching on to the theme yet, we've got black stone, we got black roof, we got black windows. We still haven't gotten our siding yet, but there's a lot of black going on this house. So you guys will still have to wait and see what the roof is gonna look like and what the siding's gonna look like, but that's basically kind of the theme that we're going for. So what I was able to knock out today is I went to Home Depot, spent about $400, and I started figuring out how we're gonna be trimming everything out. So first thing is, wood is just unobtainable, and even PVC plastic is super expensive. So we went and picked up MDF. It's kind of like a wood type product. I mean, it sounds like wood, feels like wood, cuts like wood, but it's super cheap. These 8-footers were, I think, 2/3 cheaper than any of the cedar, pine, oak, whatever. So I couldn't find what I wanted to actually stick up there in that joint where, again, we have that problem. So I bought 2 of these to test out, and what I plan on doing is kind of cutting off one of these edges here, like at a slant, sticking that up in the wood or into the metal there. And then I'm gonna stack another one on top of it to kind of hide more of the gap as it drops down, because this side's gonna be a little bit easier or harder to cover up than that side over there, because I did have to end up trimming this side to make it fit, but it was only this much here, not much at all. So on this side over here, we have to deal with just this flat piece, which is super easy. But that side over there, we have to deal with this rib here. So we can't just stick that piece of wood up in there or that MDF and not have to deal with kind of this nub here or kind of this rounded edge. So if we cut that off and sit it up in there, it'll kind of go at this angle here, and then we can set that other one up in there and pretty much hide it. And because it's only hanging down about 2 inches or so, or about, I think it's about 1.5 1.75 inches stacked on top of each other, it's almost gonna blend in that it actually won't look like we're using crown molding. And then that side over there, you may get away with just using a single piece because we're dealing with a flat part and not that ribbed part. And then I picked up another piece of MDF. I don't know if I'm gonna stick with this one. This is 2.5 inches. I may have to go with the 3-inch, but after the 5/8 drywall is here and sticks out, it's almost dead even with 2.5 inches. So I don't know how that's gonna look in case it's not 100% even. So if I go with 3.5 inches and maybe rip it down to 3-inch, it'll be a little bit over top of the drywall right here, kind of like what it's doing to the wood right now. And I think that'll be a much cleaner looks, but I'm gonna put that down, brad nail it or screw it down, and that's gonna kind of be like my little ledge that we can paint and make it look nice. And then the only other thing that I still have to finish off are these window sides here. We still have to drywall those, but we do have a bigger gap down here in the corner. Like you can see right there, you can still see through the drywall in the window there. So what we're gonna do there is probably do some more spray foam and end up caulking the seam around here. And then we're probably gonna use real wood actually, and put it on top of the drywall all the way around and build a box frame all the way up and around. And then we'll seal it again with some caulking along there, and then maybe paint it black so that it transitions kind of like what it's doing here. You've got a transition here to here to here, and we're just adding one more transition, but we're using the drywall to basically take up how much space there is in between the wood buck here and the window frame. So the drywall will kick it out, and then we can plane down a piece of oak or something and put it in there to finish it out and make it look real nice. Now, on to some bad news. My buddy came over to help me get this door and window out of the way so I could finish drywalling this last night. And he's standing over here looking at this window and he goes, "Is that window broken?" Sure enough, we have a brand new window that is broken. I have no idea how it happened, but it looks like 2 strikes of some kind. There was a bird loose in here the other day that could not get out of these massive garage door openings, but it almost looks like a beak peck right here, and then it kind of rolled off and hit its head here, because that's a very sharp impact right there. And then this is kind of blown out like the size of a quarter where it's pushed in. But that window's destroyed. I'm sure all of the argon gas has leaked out, all of the glass has fallen down because these grills are external, they're not inside of here. The glass has fallen down all the way to the bottom, and I have no idea who's gonna pay for that or how. I'm not sure if Geldwin gives you a clause like saying if a window breaks during an installation or when the home is under construction that, you know, we kind of give you a little bit of a freebie there or something, or maybe there's a warranty. I don't know. Someone says that is the case if you buy the windows through Menards, but we went through another party. So we're waiting to hear back to see what the damage is going to be, or if it's warranted, or maybe I have to pay a percentage, but I don't know. But that really sucks to have a brand new window already broken, and we're not even close to being done with construction. But luckily, it should be an easy replacement. Basically, just spin the window out, take it off the hinges, remove the hardware, and throw in a new one. I'll tell you this, that window's about $900 fully completed, so I won't be surprised if they're gonna try and charge you absolute top dollar back to that $900 and just be like, oh, well, the frame costs nothing. The frame's super cheap. It's the glass that's the expense. And they're gonna be like, oh, that's like a $700-800 replacement. Okay. And then the last thing I picked up on that run was we got more corner bead. I started doing the garage door openings, all of the corners. I ended up using more than I thought because I was just gonna do the garage doors, and then I decided to do this outside frame. Then I decided to do the ledge up there. And then I got even more because I don't know if you do corner beads on windows. I'm gonna do it, but let me know in the comments. Are you supposed to corner bead windows like anytime you have an angle coming together? Or should you just like tape and mud this and be done with it? But I don't know. Let me know what you guys think, or I'll try and research it some more and figure it out. But the only other thing that I have to finish out besides the trim and the corner bead is Someone did notice the hatch up there and wanted to know what I was gonna do with that. Obviously, I don't have enough metal to designate a specific panel for that, so I am gonna have to probably buy a 4-footer or something and cut it in half, because that door is longer than a panel is wide. So if I cut it in half, I can put a panel here and a panel there and completely cover that. And I'll probably screw it directly to the door, but leave it hang over like an inch or two and incorporate each rib into the ceiling and the door, so they kind of almost go up into each other. So that'll way it'll almost be a seamless transition. But then when you pull it down, it'll obviously extend a little bit further, that you can see it's kicked out, but that's again just to hide the seam there a little bit better. So I will be doing that. I will be making it look like there's not really a door there, except for the pull down string, obviously, that you can't really hide or get away with. And that's it. So hang tight. We'll get back here shortly. We'll do some unboxing of the Genstone so you guys can see a better picture of it all laid out. Don't know when I'll actually be installing it though, because if I put it on the house now, I think that's gonna be a real good water trap, that if we don't have the siding to go on yet, water's gonna hit the Genstone, get behind it and leak down and out, which should be okay because we are using the zip and everything's rubber walled on the outside. But I think things will just stick on that brick ledge with not having the siding down there first, so that the siding can kick it off to the brick ledge and not have water get behind it. So I don't know when install will actually be, but probably in the rest of this video, it's gonna warm up tomorrow and the next day, that we can get the taping, mudding, and spray foaming and start laying our insulation up in the attic. And then that's what we'll be looking at for this video. So hang tight and I'll see you guys back another day. Hey everybody, welcome back. So it is Friday the 23rd. As you can probably tell from my attire, it has completely warmed up. It's probably 55, almost 60 right now, and up in the attic, it's probably well above 60. So we can start spray foaming, and right now, I just quickly got the first piece of MDF on, and it actually looks pretty good. I really don't think I need to use 2 pieces. We can go ahead and just run them across. We simply just put a screw up through the MDF, up into the truss. It left a gap up in here, but that's not a problem because we're gonna go ahead and spray foam behind here. And then we'll probably end up using some caulking up in between the MDF and the drywall up in there to make it look all nice and pretty. And we will probably paint the walls white or something so we get max reflection in here. So we actually are ending up using our LED lights properly. And this piece of trim here, I'll probably take a piece of that metal to the store and we'll go ahead and see if we can't get it color matched and sheen matched. So we'll paint that so it kind of blends in, but it looks like 1 piece of MDF is more than enough to do it. So we're just screwing it to the trusses, we'll seal it, we'll spray foam it from behind, and we should be good to go. But I'm gonna take you up into the attic right now and finish off the spray foaming, and we will hopefully finish that up today, and maybe we can go get a paper suit and start laying some rock wool. So hold on, let's get up there real quick. All right, up into the attic space now. I went ahead and already started spray foaming all of my metal joints that hopefully you can see, and down around where the metal meets that first truss, and we sprayed on top of that truss before, so we're air sealed on both sides. So hopefully you guys can see that. And it's obviously working because there's no light coming through, as opposed to if you come over here, you can still see all along that seam, all those light pockets coming through. So once we get all of that finished, and actually you can even see over in there, those first 1, 2, 3, 4 trusses, light's not coming through because that MDF is sticking up in there now, as opposed to where here it's not set up yet. You can still see light coming through. So we're gonna get back here, we're gonna spray foam, we're gonna get the MDF set that I do have, and then we'll go purchase some more because we know that it'll work. And I am completely out of breath because it is hot, and I've been up on the ladder for the last couple minutes. But we're gonna, again, finish out the MDF, finish out the spray foaming. I should have enough spray foam, hopefully, to finish all of the cracks and crevices in here. And like I said, maybe we'll lay some rock wool today. So hold on, let's finish the spray foaming along this back edge, and then we'll go from there. All right, that looks good so far. It seals properly down on the metal and where the MDF meets in that corner. So if I can get over here and show you guys, really, I know spray foam isn't the best. It's kind of been proven in recent years that spray foaming isn't a guaranteed air seal. That's why Aero Barrier out there that Matt Reisinger has used in the past and just used in his house, spraying that atomized caulking through the air and finding all these tiny little pinholes and stuff to seal them up. It just works a lot better than just relying on spray foam by itself. But for the garage, we're not doing a blower door test here, so we're just trying to air seal to stop some movement getting up in here into the attic. And just a can of spray foam should do fine with that. Obviously, you can't see anything coming through the air channeling down in any of the corners or around that block. Obviously, we just spray foamed the metal to the top plate, and that's all now sealed. So there really isn't anything that can come through here. So now we can just throw in a bat, push it all the way up against there on that blocking. And if you guys can see down through here, obviously we got tons of air coming through there. So it's not really the end of the world that air is getting up in here. It's going to find it anyway, but at least out of the conditioned space of the garage, it can't get up in here, not easily, if anything. But so far we've only used about 1 can to do the entire perimeter. So that's really not that much money to be spending if you guys are looking to air seal your attic. And one other thing, if you look over here where I've got one of the wires punching through the top plate right there, that's also a spot where you want to air seal. So if you guys are having problems up in your attics where you're having air flow down through, cold drafts, stuff like that, that's a place that you want to look. If this was drywall right now, you would want to do the same thing. Anywhere where drywall is coming up and meeting a header, you want to air seal that with spray foam, because up in your attic, if you've got a gap in your insulation, you can have airflow up in your attic go down in between your 2x4 top plate on the inside of your walls, down in between your drywall, get down through that connection point, and then get down into the cavity inside of your house. Well, if you don't have insulation within the walls of your house, like separating 2 bedrooms, you can have airflow shoot straight down between that top plate, between your drywall, get into that 2x4 cavity within the 2 sheets of drywall in between 2 rooms, and then airflow can shoot straight down and like punch right out of like an outlet or a light switch. So you've got a direct line of access for air to get up through your house or cold air to come down through. And I know I've seen pictures online where actually people have seen ice forming on an outlet or a light switch because the insulation wasn't there in the attic down in between 2 trusses, and where that connection point is, again, between the top plate and the drywall. Cold air shoots right down through that, gets into that cavity, and then ice is forming as that cold air is meeting the hot air of the house, or vice versa, you're getting condensation there. So before you insulate an attic, you want to do what I'm doing. Again, it's not 100%, but it's drastically going to cut down on not having air escape down into the house or air escaping up into the attic. So if you can just seal all your drywall seams, especially to headers, especially again where you have a cavity and you're sealing around the top plates and any penetration points where they've got wires going up through a cavity, going up through a top plate and then into the attic, you need to seal around that. So again, you're basically making a tighter envelope and you're cutting down on that airflow. Again, it's not always R value in a house, it's cutting down on the air movement in a house. So if you can keep the cold out there with R value, great. But if you can keep the cold air or the warm, moist air from mixing and hitting it just with even caulking or with a spray foam to seal that air transfer out, you're gonna be a lot better off having a mold-free, basically more conditioned space within your house. So do it if you can. And again, go up and check in your attic if you're feeling cold drafts through outlet covers or light switch covers. Right, it's cooled down a little bit up here. It's not too bad in the suit, but I'm also not working too hard right now. But we're gonna start cutting these bundles open and start placing them on the side over here. I did unfortunately run out of the fire block. I did get the whole back done over on this side, but I didn't get any of the seams filled in on this side. So we're pretty much gonna do probably halfway all along this side over here, all along the back wall, and then we can go up to pretty much the same way, kind of right there where that fire block stops in there. So we should be able to get everything done. You guys want my opinion on that? Nope. Okay, so why is that a big nope? First off, that sucks. It's hot, it's miserable. Nobody wants to be doing manual labor like that, just throwing stuff down. I could have waited again till tonight. As you can see, the sun's barely setting on the horizon there. So still very warm up there. Hopefully I won't be itchy at all. My wrists kept popping out, but and I could feel a little bit of itching going on in between the gloves and the suit. Probably tape those down to be a little bit safer if we do this again. But I got it all up to the point where I ran out of spray foam. Actually, I was one little bat short. So I guess pretty good on throwing those up there. But it's just not gonna be great for a total insulation of a house. There's gaps that I see. This first truss over here, instead of being 22.5 inches, which I think it says the width is 23, we're more like 23.5 up there, but that's in between the first truss and the second truss. But then you've got an 1.5 inch gap where the truss is not touching the ICF wall. So after all of that time and what little money I think this stuff costs versus spray foam and stuff, we have to go back and basically do it all over again. So we've got the first bats laid down. I was hoping to avoid blown in cellulose up there because, again, we've got an R30 up there already. So I thought I was gonna maybe get away with just saying, screw it, it's a garage, go ahead and throw R30 up there. But when you've got those massive gaps all along that back wall, 1.5 inch wide, zero insulation, and up on these, I think there's 4 common trusses right above my head up here in the front. You again have no insulation because there's a 2x4 there instead of the 2x10s on the other parts. So where the insulation's not touching each other, again, you've got an 1.5 inch gap, probably 5.5 inches tall, that has absolutely no insulation. So no matter what, you're gonna have to pay for more insulation and doing this again. So luckily Home Depot rents a blower machine for cellulose. They've got these little tiny bags that you put down into the machine. It chops it up, blows it up through a hose, and basically we can go ahead and put an additional, like, I don't even know, say 7 inches up there. Around an R24.5. 7 inches obviously is probably too much because that's 54.5 then for the total insulation of the attic, which is not bad for a house. I would like to shoot for an R60 inside of the house, but that's probably more than enough for inside of the garage there. So again, you're still gonna have to go in there and do more additional work, as opposed to, at this point right now, I could have called the spray foamer guys back over, And not only could they have air sealed on top of my air sealing, but they would have completely just finished it out in one day. Now, thickness wouldn't have been as precise, and the R value wouldn't have been as precise, because let's say we went with open cell. I mean, to get up to like an R60, that's a heck of a lot of inches of open cell. And then again, we're only dealing with the inside of that attic space underneath of the floor. We only got 9.5 inches sprayed in there anyway. So you're kind of trying to shoot for a greater value overall. Like if you take the two spaces, add them together and divide them by 2, and that gives you maybe your overall R value. But that's why, again, I was kind of trying to shoot for just say, screw it, let's just do an R30 everywhere, because you've got the attic space floor that's only giving you an R33.25 anyway. So, yeah. So we're going to have to figure out, to go to Home Depot, we're going to have to see how much the machine costs, sit there and figure out how much blown in we need. And to make it a little bit simpler, I am going to build a box around that attic space. I'd like to go up there and show you right now, but with all that stuff still blown in the air, I don't really want to go up there. But those walls that I already have built on that front side that you saw and on the back side, I'm going to build a box all the way around that height. So that way, when I do get the hose up in there and I blow it in, I can just lean over, blow it in, get it up to a certain marker, and then I'll be done. But I think it'll still be an awesome, amazing roof. I mean, the garage only needs to stay at like an R50 throughout the winter and not really burn through our electric for a ductless AC unit out here, or for our radiant floor, which is going to be burning our propane. But 50, 55 degrees is more than enough probably for what we got already. And I think it'll be fine, but I just don't want those huge gaps. Again, 1.5 inches wide, the entire length, 37 feet, 1, 2, 3, 4, over 5 times. I think it's really pointless to even insulate at that point unless you're going to do something about it. So we'll get back to it tomorrow. We ran out of spray foam, like I said, over here. We'll finish air sealing up over there. We'll finish doing some Rockwool bats over there, and we'll call that completely done. And then I'll figure out a price and let you guys know for the rental and for the blown in, and maybe we might even do it in this video. So hang tight and we'll see you guys back tomorrow. All right, we're done. We're spray foamed up in there. All the insulation is up in there. I just put another 10 bats up in there. So we've got 24 bats total that are going up in there. And let me tell you, that is not easy. Each one of those bats have to weigh at least 40 or 50 pounds a piece. Pulling them up kind of like a dumbbell row up through a hatch that's barely big enough to fit it through, and you got to turn it sideways because obviously you can't go 23 inches through like a 22-inch hole for that hatch opening. So is it worth it? I was editing the video last night. I'm trying to figure out what the heck is all this costing me and this time and labor. And each one of these bundles are $51.39 a piece. That's not including the 11% off that Menards has going on. So we've got 24 bats up in there. So that's $1,233 of bats up in there. Now, I've already said we're not done. I do not feel confident where the 2x4s are coming together that I can just have 3.5 inches of wood, and that's going to be enough to have those like thermal breaks there, or those thermal bridging going on. So what's the point in doing an R30 bat up in there if I've got 37 feet 5 times going through there where you've only got an R3.5? What's the point? So last night I was trying to figure out what is the cost difference going to be to either blow in cellulose, or I guess I could even go cheaper, that we have enough insulation left over. I could just shred it with my hands and stick it down in that 1.5 inches all along each way. And that would obviously save a ton of money. But what would the total cost of this ceiling have been if I just spray foamed it? So we're right around 28 by 37. So we've got 1,064 of square footage, and, or I'm sorry, 1,036 square feet to fill up in there. Now, there's already 288 square feet that's been sprayed in there with the open cell. So 1,037 minus 288, we're about 749. So let's just call it 750 square feet that we still had to do. Now, if we needed to do that in spray foam and match the 9.5 inches, which would be 33.25 R value, and then everything would be 100% sealed, you wouldn't have to worry about any air gaps, and then not to get into technicality of spray foam, but I think even though code for a ceiling, again, this is a garage, not a house, but let's pretend this is a house. Even though 9.5 inches would only be 33.25, I think you could get away with that for code by not hitting the R49, which is zone 5 climate zone, because you're sealing it, yes, it's open, but you still got an outside and an inside skin where you're kind of acting as a vapor barrier or vapor retarder. Every penetration point would be completely sealed, because even if the spray foam didn't get down into a crack, it still is 9.5 inches thick. So let's say you've got a massive crack in between a truss where you've got airflow here and here. Well, that's only 3.5 inches. You're still spray foaming and closing in that truss this way that you would end up with a 100% sealed ceiling. So how much would this have cost if we just did it all? Well, 1,036 times 44 cents per inch, and that was the company that I used, not the first guy that offered me 25 cents per inch. But at 9.5 inches, that would have been $4,330. Now, I only put 24 bats up in there, and I bought 80. Those 80 bats only cost me $4,100. So I just bought, for what, 4 times the insulation, 80 divided by 24, 3.3 times the amount of insulation that I technically kind of need up in there, and I spent $200 less than spray foam. But look what I'm going through. So was it worth it? Is 9.5 inches up there enough for an R33 for a roof? I don't know, but by looking at me having to now spend more on top of the $1,200 some dollars that I've already spent, then probably an additional $1,200 that I'll have to pay for blowing in the machine or tearing up more of these and stuffing them into all the crevices. Obviously, there's a significant price savings, and we're only talking about 1,000 square feet in the garage. The house is going to be, you know, double that, over 2,000 square feet for the roof. So is it worth it, spray foam versus whatever you're going to do? In my opinion, if you've got the money, I would say yes. It's double the cost by using open. You could probably only spray a few inches of closed and get the price down a little bit. Like I wouldn't spray 9.5 inches of closed cell within there, because that R value is way too much. I don't think you would ever need that. Not to mention you'd have to spray it 3 or 4 times, because you can't spray 9.5 inches of closed cell all at once like you can with open. So is it worth it? Honestly, like I said, if you got the money, I seriously would consider going 100% spray in within your attic, sealing your drywall, already sealing again wherever your headers meet drywall. So down in that gap, you're sealing that joint with closed cell. I'm really gonna have to think about returning what I don't need of this Rockwool here, and getting a quote on how much it will be to do the entire ceiling. But again, I'm gonna have to call the county and ask them if I'm allowed to, say, just shoot for an R30 or 40, but because it's closed cell, are you gonna approve me because it's not an R49? It's gonna be better than any of this stuff. It's gonna be better for the ceiling and the cracks and the joints, and having to come back and blow in cellulose. And even if you've got the blown in cellulose, you can still have air moving up through that cellulose and getting out, because you just can't pack it in tight enough and seal it. So I think I made a mistake, but it's a money factor. Like I said, this garage alone at $4,300, and doubling that for the attic and the house, that's quite a job. That's quite a big number. But we're done up to this point. I don't want to think about it anymore. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Is that just one piece of the puzzle that you should just say, screw it, pay all the money, get it done, and you know, you might have to go with regular Formica countertops or something and not granite, because you blew it all on your insulation instead. So you know, I don't know, but this is gonna be the end of this video. As promised, real quick though, I wanna open up a few boxes of Genstone for you guys so you can see what we're looking at, and then we'll get wrapping up here. So hold on real quick, let me see what's in these boxes and we'll go from there. All right, so first box looks like our brick mold. So it looks like it goes on like this. So the last panel will have a kind of tongue and groove setup. So this will go down over top of the last panel so it's hidden. That will be the complete front face of it. And then as you can see, you got a little bit of a taper, so water hits here under a window and it'll all rush off. So it's a little bit grayer than I thought, so it's not 100% black. Looks like kind of the edges either need wiped down or... No, that is part of the color. So it's not a solid black. There definitely is a little bit more color variation in there. So that'll give it a little bit breaking up and give it some contrast. That it looks like all of the tip points have a little bit of a gray color in them almost. So it will, again, not blend in. We'll have a little bit of a contrast there for you. But let's go see if we can find one of the big panels real quick. All right, so here's one of the big panels. They come 12 inches by 48, so finishing out a job is pretty easy and pretty fast. You can see you've got kind of a tongue on this side and the groove is on the opposite side, so when they overlap, it should be pretty easy to hide your joints. I do like the fact with black, I think hiding joints will be a little bit easier, but they do offer in the kit a lot of color matching, and you even have like a powder that they give you. You mix it up yourself and then you can put touch-up spots. But the good thing about this is even if you screw up on here, if the middle section is kind of bowing out a little bit, you can get a black deck screw and put it in through one of these joints, like right in here, screw it down to the foundation or into your ICF strapping, and it'll suck it back down. And if you use a black screw, it'll pretty much hide it. But with the touch-up caulking and the touch-up powder that you can mix up, you can hide that screw hole, and then you won't know that it's there. And they tell you to do that because obviously foam can move a little bit with heating up and stuff, and especially it being black, it's gonna absorb some heat. So if you see some bubbling or whatever, throw a screw down in there. And whether it's on ICF or just an OSB wall, like a normal house paneling, you can hit this thing everywhere you want with a screw and it should suck it down. Now, my wife will probably kill me if I don't say this, but we did have a little bit of issue with some Genstone. My wife was in contact with them and they were like, oh, we would love to help you out with your project. We'll give you a discount and yada yada. And I didn't go really behind her back, but I kind of went and got the stone before everything was finalized through them. And I had already contacted them or sent them an email about a project. So they were sending me, emails and stuff. And they're like, if you buy now, you get 5% off. Well, they promised Erin a bigger percentage off, and she was dealing with one lady. And by the time I had bought and Erin was already talking to them, there was supposed to be a bigger discount. And when Erin contacted them, she's like, oh, well, your order's already processed. I can't do anything about it. And me and Erin are like, if you offered my wife a discount, it's very simple, just to hit a button and send money back to a credit card. Don't say that you can't do that. And I guess the vice president got involved and she kind of apologized for the miscommunication and everything. So they came through on another representative talking to us and the vice president talking to us. So again, miscommunication, but it's nice to see that a company out there actually took the time, went through to make it right, to do what they promised. And they actually did give us another couple % off. So it was like a $200, $300 refund. But I'll tell you right now though, this stuff is not cheap. My total order on all this stuff, which is going to include these long flat panels, the brick ledge, corners that wrap around, and then ending panels. So you're not just seeing this like black edge here. It's actually a finished, not smooth like that edge. And I think I bought the caulking kit and I think that was about it. So we're only talking roughly 5 feet on the garage here in the front, which is 28 feet, 37 this way, which clearly not a lot of stone's gonna go on this side because there's no wall to put it on besides this little guy, that end, and the back at 28 feet also. This stuff was almost $8,000. Now, I have no idea what a stone veneer would have cost, but that's a pretty big chunk of change to be paying for something. So I'm glad I got that 7 or 8% discount because that really helps, but that's a lot of money. Hopefully, again, this stuff lasts forever. I don't think foam is really gonna get faded or hurt by the sun and UV light because it's protected by the black. We've got a lot of trees blocking it. I'm sure we've all seen pictures in the ocean where plastic and foam bottles and stuff merge and the sun's beating on that all day long and that stuff stays out there for years and years. So while it's probably not good for the environment to throw this stuff away, but to bolt it onto your house, it does look like it should last pretty much forever. I don't know off the top of my head what the guarantee is, but I'm sure they've got a color fade and product guarantee for, I would think, at least 20 or 30 years. And by then, maybe we'll want to change the color of the house anyway. But so to spend that money for something that hopefully should last forever, yeah, obviously concrete or stone will probably last even longer than that. But what kind of scares me about a DIY job on stone veneer and any concrete products is we used to live in a condo that had it and the mortar ends up cracking. And then if you go and repair it, the mortars are different colors. Obviously, when it rains or snows and there's expanding and contracting, that can crack the mortar, break it. And I don't know, you just don't have to worry about that with this. So and I don't think it's really, you know, do-it-yourself friendly for a first-timer. Anyone can throw deck screws in something and bolt it onto a house as long as you got a nice laser line. So I think this is a lot simpler of a way. So if it was more than stone veneer, okay, that's something that I'm paying for that is going to be a little bit easier for me to do. But hopefully in an upcoming video, we'll be able to get this installed when we start getting the siding in and this won't be exposed. That brick ledge won't be exposed too long. Although technically maybe I could put some zip tape over that edge so nothing can get behind that, and the zip tape may stick to that. It'll definitely stick to the wall, but that could keep water out of there for a while. But I don't know. Let me know again what you guys think of this stuff and if you guys have ever used it. But I think it's gonna look good. I think in another video, we're gonna get to mudding on the garage here. I'll consider what you guys think that I should do for the ceiling, and definitely having considerations of redoing the ceiling in the house, or redoing my plans for inside of the house, because doing this again and not getting that thermal envelope that I really want for an ICF house just kind of seems pointless to throw it away in the roof. And even with me going up there and caulking every hole and stuff that I see with all the drywall seams. So I don't know. Again, let me know what you guys think. Hope you enjoyed the video. We're progressing along slowly as it may be, but I'm glad you guys are still here and sticking around. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Like and subscribe as always. Hit us up on Instagram, NeckofTheWoods 2020, and we'll see you guys next time. Take care.